Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 / PlayStation 3 DLC playthrough. So, last time we actually did tackle through the forms of Shimar both day and night stages for the DLC stages, even though despite the fact, well, the daytime stages can get a little bit more complex and difficult sometimes, but on the other hand though, with the nighttime stages though, well, except for Act 2 though, because Act 2 is pretty decent at best though, to me though, but on the other hand though, Act 3 is pretty much hell for the most part because of that stupid, well-placed enemy placement onto that very end of a level that always irritates the crap out of me. So anyways though, today for this episode folks, is the fact that we're going to be heading off to the next set of DLC stages. This time around though, we're going to be jumping into the Empire City Nights, or in this case, you know, Empire City DLC stages. So, yeah, I apologize for the fact that both my uploading schedules has been up quite late again, because even then though, that I'll explain more on that later. But for now on though, as usual, we're about to get started with the forms of course, the daytime stages of course. So, I'm assuming, most like any forms of Shimar, that it still only contains 2 stages each, but in forms of both day and night stages, which is kind of cool right there. Any Fernando, let's get this one started right there. So, oh jeez, we've only got 2 more locations left, and then after all that, then we've pretty much done with the DLC stages of this game. At least for the most part though, anyway. But anyways, let's get to it. As soon as this load times up. Alright, come on. Hopefully we can... Oh, you kidding me? There's no way I can... Of course it will just never freaking recover by itself. Oh, come on. Let's see if I can... Why did my quick dash does not even work on me in this game? Come on, man. Come on. Alright, come on. Oh, you... Oh... This is getting nerve-wracking. This is seriously freaking... Oh... I'm so done. I'm so freaking done. Well, at least You've gotta be kidding me. And he clipped through down there. This game lies to me, man. For all that clipping for the little path roads you might get through. I mean, for the love of God, this is seriously gonna... What? Oh, of course it just takes me back there. Okay, that's a bit convenient there, game. That's a bit convenient, but at least I don't have as much of an issue right there. Well, at least for the most part though, after this part right there. Of course I was just expecting to get flipping hit, and next thing you know is that... Oh, I'm actually safe there. Okay, that's kind of good. But even then though, I might still get hit by this little blast radiated robot right there, so... Oh, you... I'm done. I'm freaking done. Oh, for the love of Pete! Fudge you, Sonic. Okay, this won't be nearly as bad as I'm hoping it would. Oh, the shortcut's useless. Alright, come on. Let's see if we can able to actually just go ahead and... Oh, you kidding me? Jesus Christ. Okay, I was expecting... I don't... This is gonna be frustrating for me though. Anyways, there's gonna be a few things you got to be very careful of. It's just these different spikes right there, which my jump for some reason does not fucking work. Okay, it's trying to get... What the... Hello? Okay, this part right here though, at least as far as my recognition, I don't even flipping know. Why is the stage lies to me? Even... This is gonna be ticking me off. Okay. Let's try this again. And I'm hoping we can able to do a successful attempt, because this one makes this stage so difficult in comparison to how it does it in the previous daytime stages. Because loads of spikes, too many emphasis on trial and error most of the time. And plus not to mention with the forms of the quick time events you have to deal with right there, it is going to really drive you up the wall, especially like this. Even especially noticeable how the fact that if you do not even react to it in time, then you're expected to be able to go through a different route that way. So, if that's the case, mind you, if that wasn't bad enough, these little missile robots are always about to against with you. But even then, that's just pure chaos right there. That is pure chaos with level design like this. So, expecting so that I probably might get a lower ranking on this run through because of how the fact that with, you know, the trial and error moments is like this, it's always trying to throw me off. Like, I'm gonna tell you that now. Anyways though, okay, there we go. Because yeah, if you messed up with that quick time event right there, then you pretty much have to go back into where you came from. So, that's one thing I should probably point things out. So yeah, today was actually forms of the 17th of June, 2018. So if that's the case, then, well, we've only got about a month left. At least in the UK, but... Okay, that's a bit dumb. But on the plus side, though, we've already got a checkpoint right there, which has always been a good thing, because checkpoints is awesome. Anyways, though, yeah, we've only got about a month left, but it forms of not only Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Switch / Nintendo 3DS will be on its way until next month, but also The Incredibles 2, at least in the UK version of that film, is going to be out during that time, so even then, no. And speaking of The Incredibles 2, what I've noticed on the forms of the Rotten Tomatoes website, somehow they actually did manage to give The Incredibles 2 score is almost perfect, much like how it does it in the forms of Coco back in 2017. At least it's way above from it, unlike any forms of, let's just say both, well, pretty much the majority of the Cars films, because I know some people or critics are like, basically they're never really fond of the Cars trilogy of films. Well, at least the only good one out of the lineup will have to be either Cars 1 or Cars 3, because, except Cars 2, because Cars 2 really sucks. Because, you know, made of the total retarded character. I have to keep on telling you for this point, folks, because even then, though, that film sucks. Especially those about the fact that that film was now 7 years old in that time, because even since 2011. Speaking of which, that Toy Story 3, as far as the actual film itself, it's almost like 8 years old now, because of how the fact that they did first release that in June 19th, if I'm assuming, back in 2010. So even then, though, I can't believe it's been that old. Especially noticeable how the fact that with the top box office for the films of Toy Story 3, the most gruesome films of the year. Well, at least back in 2010 that was, around the same year as when Super Mario Galaxy 2 came out and all that stuff. But even then, it's really, I can't believe the time flies though. Anyways though, aside from all that, The Incredibles 2 has been received. Oh my god, am I gonna... I thought I was gonna land there. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe I've accidentally just messed it, trying to jump over these spikes right there. Oh, please, thank you. Thankfully, though, I can easily make it for this point right there, but at least we can able to do some things. So, okay, this is a part, before we get into The Incredibles 2, this is a part I've always died a lot, especially noticeable with my, you know the quick step I was going to be pointing things out? The quick stepping in this game is ridiculously stiff. I'm going to tell you that now. Although the only easiest way I've found is to able to maneuver with the analog stick sometimes, but it doesn't give you as a quick time reaction to it. Because even then though, if you accidentally, yeah, if you get hit right there, then you're expecting that. Did I just miss it? Yeah, I just missed it, so... Christ almighty! Can you really tell I just really hate the fact that you have to go through this particular sequence in this level though, because it will take me a lot of tries to bypass this section right there, because even then though, that if you messed up at least quite a few times noting, especially noticeable you can't really tell where the spike balls has actually been placed. Well, good thing about it is that if you manage to screwed over on this third portion of the dodging spike balls section, then you're expecting you would able to get to the other safe section, but next thing you notice is that you have to be really fast in order to actually react to it in time, because if you manage to like don't take your time, then you pretty much be screwed over for the most part though, because that's the it might be easily one of the more difficult level layouts like this. So okay, so at least we made it there, so there we go. Let's go ahead and just keep on attacking those Eggman's robots, and if you do so, then a gold ring should appear. So thank Christ, and let's see what rank I get. Oh, that was just really dim worthy. But even then though, especially noticeable how the fact that I keep on dying most of the time on this level though, unlike any forms of, well, the majority of the daytime levels for the most part though, so even then though, yeah, I'm really not overly keen on this level that much, because although it's basically like Act 1, the regular version of Act 1, except, well, a lot more stingy and difficult, if I could assume so for myself there, so... Anyways though, that does it for Act 1-2, and now let's go ahead and move on to, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Act 3 now. So, yeah, I apologize if my, you know, jump cut for that point right there, because of how the fact that with, well, at least for the actual gameplay footage, because, Sonic managed to budge into my door whenever I was trying to recording and stuff like that, where I just don't want to interrupt him for doing so. So anyways though, let's move on to Act 3 now. So, at least I'm hoping this level wasn't nearly as difficult as, you know, both, you know, Acts 1-2, even though despite the fact that I keep on running into those spikes like a fool I am. But at least this design wasn't nearly as bad as I hope it will be. There are some tons of bombs and spikes everywhere else, but even then though, that, as far as I'm aware, that is a hell of a lot more fun of a level. Well, for a few reasons most likely, is the fact that you can get a ton of rings in this level. What is this like, New Super Mario Bros. 2 DLC? But I digress though. Of course, you still have those robots to deal with right there, which I'm sure enough I'm pretty sure most of you people already know to see this coming right there. So, anyways though, there's some other things I want to mention. Oh yeah, I need to get back into the Incredibles 2 discussion. Although, actually, I'll discuss more on that, more into that before we get into the actual the nighttime levels now. So, because we've almost nearly towards the end of the daytime DLC stages of you know, Empire City. So. Yeah, it's a shame how the fact that, this Let's Play is going to be almost over by this point in time, because even then though, that, I can't believe we're actually breezing for those stages quite ridiculously fast, even especially noticeable in the nighttime levels especially, which even then though, because of how the fact that, whoa, okay, at least we're safe, whoa, we got plenty of rings at this point, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, you know, alright, so let's help me attack these, and why do I do that? Jeez Louise, man. I think my skills has actually gone pretty lackluster by then. Okay, but at least thankfully though, this quick time event is super short, and it's also... Are you kidding me? When I failed by the freaking easiest quick time events, you know... Whatever. But at least you can able to retry this thing as many times as you like. So, if you manage to pull it off, thankfully that was way easier, but although sometimes my button layouts can get pretty easily tricked. But even then, that's the only stingy about that. But anyways, look how many rings that you can able to actually pick up from. Now I'm up to 700, and let's go ahead and just keep as 800. Because that way, with 800 rings to your disposal, then you should able to get yourselves a nice, beautiful S rank. How about that then, huh? Especially noticeable with the forms of the enemies you're dealing with, and especially noticeable with the tricks, and speed, and all that stuff. So, there you go, folks. To me, though, Act 3 wasn't nearly as difficult as I hope it will be. Well, at least it's way easier than the likes of, Acts 1-2 in variation, because you know how the fact that how frustrating that level can be sometimes. But anyways though, now we're done with that, and now let's go ahead and move on to of course, the nighttime levels. So, and just like before, then we've got ourselves 2 stages to deal with right there. So even then though, let's get started with the forms of Act 2 right there, and yeah, that's what I can really tell by this point, so... Alrighty, so, a few things I want to mention, but in forms of The Incredibles 2. I'm not going to spoil the actual film of it yet, because I know that film did already technically came out already in North America, but not so much for our country, for the UK yet, because we've only got about a month left before the actual film is about to be releasing, which I'm still looking forward to it, because, you know, after 14 years since the first film came out with the forms of the first Incredibles, back in 2004. So even then, it's been about a long time coming. Among, you know, it's kind of like the exact same way to how it does it in the, you know, the Finding Nemo sequel, but in forms of Finding Dory. Without the fact that Finding Nemo first came out in 2003, but then in 13 years later, in 2016, that Finding Dory did manage to came out on that specific year. So, yeah, it's pretty cool things to notice that. So even then, though, that, especially noticeable with the forms of, Monsters University. Well, in this case, a Monsters University as a prequel to, the actual official Monsters Inc. Because I'm presuming that, it took about 12 years to able to actually just manage to make, a prequel of any sort. Because even then, the first Monsters Inc. film, they first came out in 2001, and then 12 years later, in 2013, that, Monsters University, a prequel to Monsters Inc., that usually came out. So, well, I won't say the same thing for the Cars trilogy, because Cars films seems to able to actually last for about 5 or so years to able to actually just make its release on the theaters. So, if that's the case, that, Cars 1 did first came out in 2006, and then in 5 years later, until 2011, that Cars 2 did came out, and then in 6 years later, in 2017, Cars 3 did manage to came out on that particular year for the last year. So, yeah, it's a pretty short, length, time-wise, when it comes to making sequels like this. So, yeah, as far as I can say about it. And also not to mention, though, with the forms of the similar thing, how it does it in, Toy Story 2 for Toy Story 3, that, Toy Story 2 did came out in 1999, and then until 11 years later, that Toy Story 3 did came out in 2010. And that could be same applies for Toy Story 4, the upcoming sequel until next year, that, Toy Story 3 came out in 2010, and, Toy Story 4 might actually gonna come out during in 2019. So, expecting there's gonna be huge surprises out there. Even especially noticeable how the fact that it's a good thing that, both Toy Story 4 and Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna be released on the exact same year between each other. Well, the noticeable difference is the fact that they're gonna be releasing on the different months and stuff like that, which I'm sure enough there has to be will be. So, anyways though, oh my god, we got ourselves these little electrical, tightrope sequences now. If you manage to accidentally get touched by the forms of the electric, tightrope sequences like here, you're expecting you're gonna get hit by that a lot. So, yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention right there, because I did not expect these things to be active or not. So, but at least we can still able to actually make it to the other end though, so good thing that's the case though, regrettably though. So anyways though, another thing I want to mention about this is the fact that, how the fact that with the forms of, there's this game called, Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance, and I've recently managed to complete that game during today, in the forms of the 17th of June, and, so far I've managed to able to get every single items I've got by the forms of 100% item grinding, and even then, let me tell you right off the bat though, it's such a busy work, with the forms of 100% completion of the forms of, Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance. It's nothing too difficult or anything, although it can be difficult in some cases, like the forms of trying to get these super missile tanks, and even the actual missile tanks remaining, and even especially noticeable with the final 2 energy tanks, that you have to able to get them in the forms of Drasilia. With the forms of these both, energy tanks that you might as well get. I think those 2 energy tanks in the forms of the Drasilia is by far the difficult energy tanks to obtain from, because, well, one of them you have to retain the forms of, the speed booster ability, which even then, I'm gonna tell you that right off the bat though, although I'm still a huge fan of the actual Metroid series, but even then, I can't play these games, but I will admit here and now that there were a few times though that I've managed to get, sometimes I generally got screwed over in some cases, like I managed to able to time my, speed booster keeping stuff too late, or especially too early. But even then though, sometimes my skills wasn't exactly perfect by any means, but it's just that it takes a while though, especially noticeable with the forms of some of these mechanics themselves like that. Can get pretty, not so much strict though, because even then though, it takes a while to practice those, because even then though, that I think, kind of thing about it though, is the fact that, Metroid Zero Mission might actually be the first ever, Metroid series game I've actually managed to accomplish and completed. At least in my own time though anyway. I don't know if we can able to actually do that Let's Play honestly though, because I mentioned this before by the forms of, the final 2 energy tanks that you get in the forms of Drasilia area. How the fact that those 2 energy tanks are by far the hardest energy tanks to get them, by the forms of Drasilia, by the forms of the one of them Are you kidding me? I think my green lock-on radical does not show up with me at all. What is this? Was it like the green radical thing does not like me today? I'll go assuming so, because he might be feel really tired. Anyways though. And there's also another energy tank I was going to be pointing things out, is the fact that you have to be really right on with that specific screw attack jumps, and how the fact that you need to be very careful not to get spotted with the forms of the actual laser beams or security lasers and stuff like that, because if you get caught, then not only does the actual space pirates might actually come in, but also by the forms of how the fact that it can actually shield up the actual energy tank's location by itself. So even then though, that aside from that, I absolutely enjoyed Metroid Zero Mission. I loved every single aspect of that version of the game. At least it did much more better than in forms of the original Metroid game that's been on about for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And even then, though, that I really do enjoy it, despite there are some difficult situations, but in forms of you know, some of these item requirements you have to get into in order to actually 100% through everything, like, you know, missile expansions and energy tanks and stuff like that. So if that's the case, and even especially power bombs especially though, and even some of these abilities I need to get used to with this. So even I know aside from that though, that I, you know, pretty enjoyed the game. So I guess the next Metroid game I should probably going to be do tackle for my own time. In actually forms of, I would do this in a chronological order, but I'm also able to actually deal with the actual system by system territory right there. Like the forms of the next Metroid game, I'm also able to actually just play through for my own time. And that's the forms of Metroid Fusion, also on the Game Boy Advance. But I definitely noticed how the fact that with Metroid Fusion, it definitely is the last Metroid game to be on the story timeline, kind of like how it did in the forms of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link and stuff like that, and even especially noticeable with, oh wow, jeez, that Titan right there can really fudge me the crap out of me. Anyways though, okay, just stay there, thank you. So that way we don't even get too many knockback occurred right there, even especially noticeable how the fact that, well, you know what I mean. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish him off. Hopefully we'll can. There we go. And if you think about this level is about to be done, then yeah. Oh, I didn't get any of these experience points. Shoot. Oh man, I really want to level up my Werehog, but because I've accidentally just get onto that exact same spot of how it does it where the gold ring respawns. Oh jeez, that was my fault. That was definitely my fault right there. But good thing though is the fact that we've pretty much leveled up Werehog now into the forms of the combat mode. So even then though, everything else will be just as fine as it used to be. So, kind of thinking about it though, we've only got one more level left in the forms of the Empire City DLC, and now it's the forms of Act 3. So, yeah, for the most part though, those kinds of levels like this are somewhat linear for the most part though. So even then though, that it's gonna be, you know, a lot of emphasis on the forms of, you know, just going through difficult obstacles like this. So, anyways though, now let's move on to Act 3, where I'm assuming that we're gonna be able to climb through the actual building towers. So, well, at least for the most part though anyway. Well, after destroying all kinds of robot generators and stuff like that. So, even then, if that's the case, then, well, every time you're trying to able to get close to the actual generators themselves, then the enemies do appear every time you get closer to the actual generators and stuff like that. So, I'm assuming that you have to destroy like either 4 or 3. I miscount on that one because, well, it has been a long while since I actually managed to come back to this game pretty much though, so even then though, yeah. Yeah, let's get back into what I was saying by the forms of The Incredibles 2. As far as I've noticed on the actual review scores for the critics and stuff, they actually give the game like, no, what did I say game for? I just can't help it for myself, sorry about that folks. They decided to give their film by the forms of 94%, which is really, really good. Even though it's not as high as compared to how it does it in the forms of, well, let's just say the first film came out, but even then, though, it still looks pretty enjoyable, even to this day. Especially noticeable how it's been, you know, 14 years since the first film came out back then, which even then, though, I can't believe it's been so long since then. And I've realized that this stupid battle theme music is going to continuously playing after when I deal with, I'm pretty sure I've pretty much cleared out all of the enemies for the most part though, but I just get the feeling that this music doesn't want to end, which even though that just always irritates the crap out of me for the most part though too, which even though that might be some consumption. So anyways. Oh yes, aside from that, there's not much else I can really say about this, to be honest, because after all, that I just want to point things out right away, though, is the fact that I've recently managed to order myself, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for both, not only for the Nintendo Switch versions, but also the 3DS version as well, because, well, first of all, it's been a long while since I actually managed to purchase some of these 3DS titles ever since, well, obviously Xenoblade Chronicles 3D for the new Nintendo 3DS. In fact, it's been, I would say for about 2 or 5 months since then, which I think that was the last time I've actually picked up, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D on the new Nintendo 3DS from last time, because originally I was trying to get myself Fire Emblem Warriors for the new Nintendo 3DS. I know it's technically the exact same game as the Switch version, besides with no 3D effects, it's just 2D effects, and that's about it. Which I found was kind of a lame effective has been going on, because even then though, that I could have wished there was going to be 3D effects in Fire Emblem Warriors, but nope, it's going to be strictly in 2D, so that's the thing, I wasn't really sure about that. But anyways, I was trying to get Fire Emblem Warriors in new forms of the new Nintendo 3DS in during the Smith's Toy Superstore's shop in during yesterday, but unfortunately though I didn't get it because of how the fact that how the stocking issues that we found about, that's how that actually usually happens like that, but in forms of the actual stocking issues, like they don't have it anywhere. So although, kind of convenience though, and surprisingly enough, it only costs about like 10 quid, just for starters, but next thing you notice that as soon as I'm able to double check on the actual, cash counter, or the actual till counter, oh wow, that was a obnoxious knockback for that little electric stuff there. But anyways, about the fact that, unfortunately though, that it's not the case for actually obtaining Fire Emblem Warriors. But I could probably get that on my own time though, to able to get a lot of potentials how the fact that there are some differences between, well, I noticed it plays exactly the same game as between the two versions, but for the most part though, that's all I can really say about this for the most part though. So I'll talk about the devil. We have the Titan himself. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on dealing with this stupid Titan monster every time you're trying to get into that certain point. What is this like? Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Shadow the Hedgehog's very hard missions, like, you have to play as Rouge and Omega every single time in every single level, which I know this sounds legit, incredibly. Well, not so legit, but it's all about just, kind of a little bit of a problematic and such, but even then, that just feels a bit too much, man. So, anyways though, also during around the same day as the films of The Incredibles 2 came out on the theaters in North America, I'm pretty sure that the Lego The Incredibles has recently came out in North America as well, by the forms of, for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and even especially Nintendo Switch as well. So, yeah, that's what I can really talk about for that point. I just want to mention about this, for those of you who haven't, seen the actual gameplay footage of the forms of the Lego The Incredibles, the video game, there's going to be some Pixar characters to join in, which as far as you already know for that point of view, but I apologize of the actual spoilers for that little ahead of you. That's only because I just want to discuss you folks about something. So, but the good thing about this level though is the fact that every time you destroy one of those generators, then we get ourselves a checkpoint, which is always good. Especially noticeable how the fact that that makes any single player experiences. Oh yeah, if you manage to step onto this little tightrope walking sequences, the things will start to crumble every once in a while though. Well, the good thing about that though is the fact that you can able to actually use your dash ability, and you can able to actually do a leaps of faith syndrome, and that way you should able to actually make your way to the actual path easier. So that's a good thing I just want to point things out if you having trouble with. So anyways, so let's go ahead and activate every single switches ever since Begonia DLC levels, but except the fact that, well, I'm assuming this might actually be the final time we're going to be seeing these types of switches, while the majority of these switches every now and then though is going to be just a actual circle button or something like that. but even I know that's just how I feel like with the aesthetical views and stuff like that, so... Are you kidding me? Not only do we able to actually deal with the forms of 2 of those Titan monsters, but also we need to deal with them in a small arena, which even then though, to make matters worse than that, if I actually fell off on that specific arena alone, then this will give me not only the knockback, but also by the forms of how the fact that, well, you can't really pay attention to the forms of the second Titan monster as well, because if you accidentally, you know, get knocked back by him, like, you see that right there, how dumb is... Seriously, I really hate these guys. They're always trying to able to actually outright against with you, and... Are you kidding me? Not again. Oh, please don't tell me it's like the Act 3 of the nighttime level in Shimon Night Act 3 all over again. I mean, jeez, could we get a lot more worse than that? Oh, jeez. I'm just getting sick of these Titan monsters right there, because they always about to against with me. Like, they always trying to about against with me just from the start. But even then though, that it's really hard to able to judge with them, because again, once again, it's so hard to able to deal with them unless they have too much defense. Which it really is for the most part. I mean, these are the absolute worst enemies in this game, because not only do you able to actually be very cautious with their attacks, but also if you actually be trying to be more defensive than that, then you might still gonna get a plenty of knockback occurrence, which even then though, that can always irritate the crap out of me. And even then though, that I've almost died right there, because thankfully though, that Titan did actually save my life for once. But I highly suggest you keep on doing this little drill attack ability, so just in case you don't able to actually just you know, waste your time trying to able to actually just deal with that stupid Titan right there. But still, it's incredibly irritating for me though, because even I know that, you know, it took absolute forever to kill them, and also if you actually get yourselves knocked back twice by the forms of that stupid shockwave ability, or that shockwave technique that he's constantly performing, and then you have to redo the entire fight portion again, which even then, that can always feels a little bit more dragged out, and even then, kind of drags if you say so for this much. Alright, there he goes. Whew. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with that again. Well, at least we've only got one more left. Well, good thing I've got my Unleashed meter filled up. This means I can able to actually KO him, no problem with that. At least this all depends though, because even then though, that... Well, it's a good thing we don't have to deal with like... Oh Christ, oh phew. Thank you, Obstacle, you saved my life. Anyway, okay, let's finish him off. Oh, please, 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 please. Okay, good. Can we just move on, please? Because I'm getting sick of these Titan monsters, because even then, they just always about to against with me. And even then, that's the only problem I have with this game, though. I will admit, though, right away. But even then, that's just, aside from that, though, that's what I can think about it. So, there we go. That concludes Act 3 in new forms of, well, Skyscraper Scamper from the Empire City Night Act 3, and also the majority of the DLC stages in new forms of Empire City. So, jeez Louise. Well, at least I've only got just only one S rank in this particular DLC stages. One of them was actually forms of well, obviously Act 3 in new forms of Empire City daytime levels. So, at least we actually got that out of the way. So, anyways though, let's go ahead and end things off at this point right there. So join me next time on Let's Play Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3 DLC playthrough. It's going to be the finale of this game's Let's Play, and also the DLC playthrough as well. We're about to be heading to the last location in the game, and that's the forms of Anabat DLC levels, because I know for the fact that Eggman Land does not contain any of the DLC stages, because thank God, because that level can go to hell for the most part though, for those of you very curious. So anyways, see you guys next time for that. Later fellas. Whew.